Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
That's entertainment. Emma Gillespie, the editor-in-chief at the Daily Oz, is here, and a California doctor is accused of giving Friends star Matthew Perry access to ketamine, is now in big trouble.
Yeah, so you might
bigger.
remember there's a whole ring of people involved in the death of Matthew Perry, the Friends actor who was tragically found dead in his LA home in October 2023. The coroner ruled that he had died from the effects of ketamine. He died in his jacuzzi. And basically there's this whole ring of people around him who facilitated his access to copious amounts of ketamine. Now, one of the key doctors in this ring, he is the biggest player so far to reach a plea deal, has agreed to plead guilty to 4 charges relating to supplying ketamine to Matthew Perry. Now, this guy there was some really incriminating evidence surrounding him. I don't know if you remember, there was some text messages that were leaked that showed he had texted another supplier saying, this guy's a moron, let's see how much he'll pay. And the Department of Justice in the US essentially said that, you know, he had a fixation on seeing how much he could exploit Matthew Perry and had no care for his well-being. This guy was a doctor. He ran an urgent care clinic in Malibu in LA, so he was legit for all intents and purposes. But
he was providing him not just that one dose that killed him, but leading up to it, he'd been his providing.
Yes, so he'd been in his life only for a month in the lead up to his death, but basically he was giving him as much ketamine as he would pay for. So Matthew Perry was actually being prescribed ketamine for depression. It's a form of treatment-resistant depression treatment.
Right.
So there's some trials going on here in Australia. It is seen as a successful way to treat depression in a small amount of people in the population.
I thought it was a horse tranquilizer.
It's an anaesthetic. It's used in hospitals, in anaesthesia.
It's
but of
used
course,
in Elon Musk's system.
yes, it's very prominent.
And so the
ketamine
doctor
user.
who prescribed it for his depression isn't this doctor who was providing it?
No, so he had a legit script, but that was for a very small amount. It's essentially microdosing when used for depression. But this doctor sort of took that and ran with it as an excuse to kind of access above board ketamine, but was giving it to him in copious amounts. He met him in a car park at a certain point and injected him. He trained up his assistant on how to inject him when the doctor wasn't around. And he also connected Matthew Perry to the ketamine queen, who is this other person who is the big player in this case. She hasn't reached a plea deal yet, but she is kind of the underground drug dealer of this story. But even with this plea deal, this guy, his name is Dr. Salvador Plasencia, he's looking at 40 years behind bars, even with this deal. So we're not going to know how he's going to be sentenced until a little bit later on in the year. But he's certainly facing a huge amount of time behind bars. He's also facing a $2 million fine, and he's obviously been stripped of his
Michael
right
Jackson's
practice.
doctor.
Yeah, but the thing that reminds me of the Michael Jackson stuff is that so many sort of people who seem legit but all working
all enablers.
together.
Yeah, terrible. And exploiters. And so there's a whole lot of other people who are yet to face trial as well.
Yes. So 4 out of the 5 people charged over Matthew Perry's death have now agreed to a plea deal. So there's not going to be any trials for them. But we will see a trial for this so-called ketamine queen. That's due to start later in the year. But whether or not she'll kind of feel the heat from these other plea deals and maybe agree to plead guilty, so far she's steadfastly pleading not guilty. But there's just so much evidence. And all of these 4 others who have agreed to plead guilty, they have supplied this other evidence that it's going to be pretty tough for this one remaining person.
So if you take a plea deal, there is no trial.
Exactly. So you forfeit your right to a trial, but the idea is that a judge will look favourably upon your decision to kind
And still give you 40 years, sucko.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's up to the judge. It's at their discretion. They could go the full 40. Probably they won't because plea deal, but we'll have to wait and see. I think we'll know a little bit more probably September, October this year.
Just stick with Amanda's good doctor, Dr. Lindemann.
Okay, and Dr. Skull. They both come on holiday with me.
And Dr. Lindemann. That's all a girl needs.
No ketamine, Queen.
Em, thank you. Editor-in-chief of the Daily Oz, Em Gillespie.